What if the name you've carried your whole life is actually a divine whisper from your ancestors? A secret encoded message, not just of where you come from, but who you're meant to become. Most of us grow up thinking our last names are nothing, more than labels, genealogical tags passed down like old furniture. But in the deeper currents of spiritual wisdom, your surname is far more than just a family tradition. It's a vibration, a lineage of energy, and perhaps a sacred assignment. In cultures across the world, from Native American tribes to ancient Sanskrit traditions, names have never been arbitrary. They carry weight, memory, destiny. They tether us to generations past and often hint at unfinished spiritual business that we've been born to complete. Have you ever noticed patterns that run in your family? Mysterious similarities in careers, struggles, or even types of heartbreak? Your last name might be the invisible thread tying it all together. A soul contract etched into language waiting to be read. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the spiritual meaning of surnames. We'll explore how your last name can reveal soul patterns, karmic themes, ancestral messages, and even your hidden life purpose. We'll also look at real-life examples of people whose lives changed when they discovered the deeper truth behind their name. And by the end, you'll have a new lens through which to view your identity, one that connects you not only to your ancestors, but to the universe itself. This isn't about superstition. It's about sacred insight, a tool you've had all along, hiding in plain sight. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you may never look at your name the same way again. Pause for a moment and say your last name out loud. Feel it vibrate in your throat, roll off your tongue, echo in the air. That sound isn't just phonetic, it's energetic. In many spiritual traditions, names are believed to carry frequency, like a mantra or a bell. Your surname is no different. It holds a frequency shaped by generations, molded by emotions, and encoded with meaning. Ancient mystics believed that names act as spiritual signatures, unique patterns etched into the soul. Just as every soul has a specific vibration, so too does every name. These vibrations interact with the energies of the universe, attracting certain people, experiences, and even challenges into your life. Think of it like a song that's been playing through your lineage, and you, in this lifetime, are the current verse. What story does your last name tell? Does it translate to a profession, like Smith or Fisher? Or does it trace to a place, like Hill, Ford, or Montgomery? Each of these isn't just a clue to geography or labor. It's a symbol, a message, a metaphor for your soul's terrain. In Chinese culture, surnames are revered as ancestral flags. In Hebrew tradition, names are considered prophecies. And in West African spirituality, names are often given through divination, believed to be direct revelations from the spirit world. So when you hear your name, don't just hear letters. Hear a chord, a tone, a legacy. Many people feel a mysterious connection to their last names, even when they don't know why. Others feel a strange resistance, as if the name doesn't fit. Both reactions are meaningful. Both are spiritual signals. Could it be that your name is inviting you to reconcile something unresolved in your lineage? Or perhaps it's calling you to carry forward a strength that's gone dormant? Let that question sit for a moment, because recognizing your last name as more than a word is the first step toward reclaiming a part of yourself that's been hidden, sometimes for centuries. If this idea speaks to your journey, give this video a like so it reaches others who need it. Every surname is a doorway. Behind that door are voices, the voices of your ancestors, whispering through time. You may never have met them, may not even know their names, but through your surname, you carry their breath, their grief, their prayers, and their dreams. Carl Jung once said, "The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parent." Now expand that out. What about the unlived life of generations? The patterns repeated, the choices made, the silence held. Your last name is often the echo of that. Let's take a moment to think spiritually. In the Buddhist concept of interbeing, we are not isolated individuals, we are continuations, Our ancestors live in every cell of our body. They speak through our instincts, our gifts, even our fears. And the surname is often the stamp of that continuation, a symbol of inherited, karmic threads. Look at family patterns in your lineage. Are there repeated themes? Mental health struggles? Addictions? Certain careers or emotional wounds that stretch back as far as anyone remembers? These aren't coincidences. They're clues. Your surname might be the spiritual shorthand for a larger, deeper story, and your soul may have chosen this name, in this life, to either heal or continue that narrative. Consider this. What if you're the first one in your family with the awareness, the tools, or the desire to break a cycle? To do that, you need to understand what's been cycling. Ancestral healing is not about blame. It's about recognition. When you acknowledge that your last name carries both shadow and light, you begin the work of transformation. One woman I worked with felt disconnected from her father's side. Her surname was Graves, and she always hated it. But when she explored her paternal line, she discovered a history of silence around grief, repressed loss, unspoken trauma. That name, Graves, wasn't a punishment. It was a prompt. Her spiritual path became one of emotional excavation, helping others express their buried pain. Your last name could be your spiritual prompt too. It doesn't mean you're bound by the past. It means you're in dialogue with it. And that dialogue can be healing. If this resonates with you, let me know in the comments below. What stories or emotions live in your family name? Words have power, and names are among the most potent words we carry. Take a closer look at your last name. What does it literally mean? Even if it seems ordinary, there's usually a hidden layer of symbolism waiting to be unearthed. For example, a surname like Stone may symbolize strength, resilience, or rootedness. A name like Fields might suggest openness, potential, growth. King could represent leadership, legacy, or even egoic lessons around control and humility. When you reflect on the literal or metaphorical meaning of your surname, ask yourself, how does this symbol play out in my life? Do I embody this quality? Struggle with it? Feel called to develop it? Language is sacred. In spiritual traditions like Kabbalah, the letters in a name hold mystical significance. In Sanskrit, names are often chosen to match the vibration of the soul's destiny. Even numerology teaches that the letters in a name, when translated to numbers, reveal soul contracts and life paths. This isn't pseudoscience, it's poetic wisdom. And poetry, like spirituality, speaks not to the intellect, but to the soul. Many people are surprised when they learn the root meaning of their last name. They suddenly see a pattern. My name means bridge, and I've spent my life connecting people. Or, my surname is Wells, and I've always felt drawn to depth, to emotion, psychology, the unseen. That's not an accident. It's alignment. Sometimes the meaning is ironic. A man named Strong may struggle with chronic illness. A woman named Grace might have a lifelong battle with self-forgiveness. In these cases, the name acts as a spiritual invitation, a wound that wants healing, a trait that wants embodying. The key is to stay curious. Spiritual meaning doesn't arrive as a lightning bolt. It unfolds gently, through meditation, journaling, synchronicity. Say your last name again, slowly this time. Feel the texture of it. Then ask, what is this name asking of me? What is it trying to teach me? You may be surprised what surfaces. What happens when your last name doesn't feel like you at all? Some people carry surnames that feel foreign, disconnected, or even painful. Maybe it comes from a lineage of trauma, abandonment, or abuse. Maybe it was changed through adoption, marriage, or immigration. Or maybe deep down, it just doesn't fit, like an outfit that never quite belonged to your spirit. This dissonance isn't something to ignore. It's a spiritual signal. In many indigenous and shamanic cultures, when a name doesn't reflect your truth, it's changed, not out of rebellion, but out of alignment. They believe your name should fit your soul, not the other way around. So, if your surname feels like a stranger, ask yourself, What part of me is being suppressed, hidden, or unclaimed by this name? One man I spoke with was adopted and carried the surname of a family he never emotionally connected with. For years, he felt lost in life, as though he were living someone else's story. When he researched his birth name and discovered it meant healer, something clicked. He cried. "It's who I've always been," he said, "even before I knew." Our names are spiritual mirrors. When they reflect something distorted or false, we can feel lost, misaligned, or fragmented. And when they reflect truth, we feel empowered, like we've come home. That doesn't mean you need to legally change your name, but spiritually, you have permission to explore it. You can reclaim parts of old names, ancestral names, even names you've never been called but feel drawn to. Your last name is not a prison, it's a portal. If your name has ever felt wrong, know that this discomfort is valid. It's part of your spiritual dialogue with your lineage and with yourself. If you've ever struggled with your last name, share your story in the comments. Your voice may be exactly what someone else needs to hear. What if your last name isn't just about where you've come from, but about what you're here to learn? In Eastern spiritual philosophies, especially in Hinduism and Buddhism, karma is not just about reward and punishment. It's about patterns, cycles, lessons your soul agreed to face again and again, not as punishment, but as evolution. And surnames? They often carry these karmic themes. Think about it. Your surname links you to a bloodline, and that bloodline, like every family, carries both light and shadow, courage and fear, wisdom and ignorance. These energies don't disappear. They ripple through time, waiting to be transformed. Some last names seem to be magnets for certain karmic struggles. Families with names tied to strength might face themes of control or emotional suppression. Names rooted in nature might attract people deeply sensitive to the environment or struggling to find grounding in a modern world. One woman named Hunter always felt like she was being chased by anxiety. Another man named Love struggled for decades with intimacy and self-worth. These aren't just poetic coincidences, they're spiritual assignments. Ask yourself, what spiritual lesson might my surname be pointing toward? Is it compassion, resilience, truth-telling, reclaiming your voice? Look back on the struggles you've faced in your life. Now ask, do these struggles echo anything I've seen in my parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins? This is your karmic lineage, and your last name may be the headline. The good news? Karma isn't fixed. It's a curriculum. When you learn the lesson, the cycle softens, the burden lightens, and often, the very name that once felt heavy begins to feel like a source of power. So next time you sign your name, pause, feel the vibration behind it. Is it calling you to break a pattern? To heal something left undone? When you listen closely, your surname can become a sacred mantra, not a reminder of the past, but a guide toward your highest self. In many spiritual traditions, especially African, Native American, and Eastern lineages, speaking the names of your ancestors is an act of reverence, a prayer in itself. And every time you say your last name, whether you realize it or not, you're calling on your lineage. There's a reason why so many rituals begin by honoring those who came before. Names are bridges. When you say your surname with intention, you open a spiritual line of communication. You invite your ancestors into your awareness. You acknowledge their journey, their pain, their resilience. Even if you never met them, even if you don't know their stories. Some people feel disconnected from their ancestry, maybe because of lost records, family secrets, or adoption. But your blood remembers, your energy remembers, and your name can be the thread that reconnects you. You don't need to know everything to start. Try this simple practice. Sit in silence. Say your last name slowly, like a mantra. Then say, I honor those who carried this name before me. I walk with you and I thank you. Notice what you feel, what rises, what memories or emotions stir. This kind of ancestral acknowledgement can soften emotional armor that's been passed down for generations. It's a spiritual paradox. By honoring the people behind your name, Even if they caused harm, you reclaim. Power. You say, I am aware. I am awake. I choose to walk this path consciously now. Buddhism teaches us the concept of turning the wheel, breaking unconscious cycles through mindfulness and compassion. Speaking your surname with reverence can be one way of turning that wheel. And something mysterious often happens when people start doing this. They report synchronicities, dreams, visions, unexpected messages, or healing in relationships that once seemed impossible to mend. Your name can be a prayer, and like all real prayers, it's not about asking for miracles. It's about awakening your connection to something larger than yourself. If this idea speaks to your heart, give this video a like. It helps more people connect to their inner lineage. Names can change, and when they do, something sacred often unfolds. Whether through marriage, divorce, spiritual initiation, gender transition, or personal rebirth, changing your name isn't just a legal act. It's a symbolic death and rebirth, a shedding of skin, a bold declaration. This is who I am now. If your last name no longer fits who you've become, or never did, you have the right, spiritually and energetically, to reclaim your identity. In many indigenous traditions, names change throughout life. A child may receive one name, but as they mature or pass through significant rites of passage, their name evolves to reflect their essence, their journey, their medicine. Think of it as soul-based renaming. But even if you don't legally change your name, you can begin a spiritual reclamation process. This means forming a conscious relationship with your surname. You can speak to it, meditate on it, ask it what it wants to show you. Ask what you want to heal through it. One man I knew carried a surname linked to a violent ancestor. He hated it, but instead of changing it, he redefined it by becoming a therapist for men recovering from abuse. I don't carry his shame, he said. I carry his unfinished healing. That's the essence of transformation. There are also those who choose to adopt spiritual names, from yogic or Buddhist traditions, for example, as a way to affirm a deeper commitment to their path. These names often represent a soul quality, like truth, compassion, or freedom. This doesn't negate your last name. It expands it. It adds depth, dimension, and choice. Whether you keep your name, change it, or hold both, the question remains: does this name reflect who I truly am, or who I am becoming? And if not, what would? The act of renaming or reclaiming can be profoundly healing. It's not about erasing the past. It's about standing rooted in it while reaching toward your own soul's expression. Your identity is not static. Your spirit is not confined to inherited labels. You are allowed to evolve. And sometimes, a name, whether chosen, reclaimed, or redefined, is the spark that lights that fire. Names can change. And when they do, something sacred often unfolds. Whether through marriage, divorce, spiritual initiation, gender transition, or personal rebirth, changing your name isn't just a legal act. It's a symbolic death and rebirth, a shedding of skin, a bold declaration. This is who I am now. If your last name no longer fits who you've become, or never did, you have the right, spiritually and energetically, to reclaim your identity. In many indigenous traditions, names change throughout life. A child may receive one name, but as they mature or pass through significant rites of passage, their name evolves to reflect their essence, their journey, their medicine. Think of it as soul-based renaming. But even if you don't legally change your name, you can begin a spiritual reclamation process. This means forming a conscious relationship with your surname. You can speak to it, meditate on it, ask it what it wants to show you. Ask what you want to heal through it. One man I knew carried a surname linked to a violent ancestor. He hated it, but instead of changing it, he redefined it by becoming a therapist for men recovering from abuse. I don't carry his shame, he said. I carry his unfinished healing. That's the essence of transformation. There are also those who choose to adopt spiritual names, from yogic or Buddhist traditions, for example, as a way to affirm a deeper commitment to their path. These names often represent a soul quality, like truth, compassion, or freedom. This doesn't negate your last name. It expands it. It adds depth, dimension, and choice. Whether you keep your name, change it, or hold both, the question remains, does this name reflect who I truly am, or who I am becoming? And if not, what would? The act of renaming or reclaiming can be profoundly healing. It's not about erasing the past. It's about standing rooted in it while reaching toward your own soul's expression. Your identity is not static. Your spirit is not confined to inherited labels. You are allowed to evolve, and sometimes, a name, whether chosen, reclaimed, or redefined, is the spark that lights that fire. We often talk about trauma and pain being passed down through families, but what about the gifts? Your surname doesn't just carry the shadows of your lineage, it also carries the light. The talents, strengths, wisdom, and resilience that your ancestors refined through lifetimes of love, labor, and learning. And you? You're the current steward of that spiritual treasure. Sometimes the gifts are obvious. A family of teachers, healers, artists, or inventors. A legacy of music, craftsmanship, or storytelling. Other times the gifts are subtle. A quiet strength, a talent for holding space, a deep intuition that seems to have no logical origin. Have you ever wondered, why am I naturally drawn to this? Or why does this come so easily to me, even though no one taught me? These are clues that your soul has inherited more than just a name. It's inherited sacred tools. And just like trauma can be activated unconsciously, so can gifts. They live inside your DNA, waiting for permission to awaken. Take some time to reflect. What skills, traits, or qualities seem to run in your family? Not just what people did, but how they did it. Were they kind, resilient, curious, community-oriented? Your surname might hold a vibrational imprint of those gifts, and your life may be the soil in which they're meant to bloom fully. This shift in perspective can be healing. Instead of seeing your last name as a burden, you begin to see it as a vessel, a spiritual container passed down so that something precious wouldn't be lost. Buddhism teaches that we are continuations of our ancestors, not separate from them. When you honor the gifts they passed down, even if they never got to fully express them, you honor the deeper reason you're here. You may be the first in your line to live out a gift that's been waiting for centuries, and the moment you name it, own it, and nurture it, something incredible happens. Your ancestors rejoice. They finally get to see their light carried forward through you. As much as we inherit a name, we also leave one behind. Whether you have children, a legacy, a work of art, or simply the memory of your kindness, your last name becomes part of the spiritual imprint you pass on. And this brings a sacred responsibility. What do I want this name to mean after I'm gone? Many people never ask this question. But when you do, something profound begins to shift. You realize you're not just living for yourself. You're a chapter in a much longer story. A link in the chain. A soul entrusted with both healing the past and planting new seeds for the future. This doesn't mean you need to be perfect. It means you need to be conscious. One man I worked with had a family legacy of betrayal. Broken trusts, secrets, lies. He said, "I want my name to mean honesty now. That's how I'll honor my children. That's how I'll end the pattern." And he did. He started having hard conversations. He told the truth even when it was difficult. Over time, the meaning of his name, at least in his corner of the world, began to change. We each have that power. Even if you don't have children, you still leave echoes behind. How you lived, how you loved, how you walk through this life. All of it becomes part of your name's spiritual legacy. In Buddhist teachings, there's a concept called store consciousness. The idea that every thought, word, and deed becomes part of the collective memory of the world. Your name becomes part of that storehouse, not just in legal records, but in the hearts of those you touch. So ask yourself, What energy do I want to attach to my surname? Is it kindness, courage, forgiveness, joy? You can start living that meaning now. Each act of intention plants a seed, and one day someone may speak your name with gratitude because of the legacy you chose to leave behind. Here's a question that might shift everything. What if your soul chose your last name before you were born? In many spiritual philosophies, especially in reincarnation and pre-birth planning traditions, souls are believed to select key elements of their life in advance: their family, their challenges, even their name. Not from a place of punishment or fate, but for growth, for evolution, for a deeper unfolding of purpose. It might sound mystical, but consider this. How many times have you looked back on a hard chapter of your life and said, "I wouldn't change it. It made me who I am"? Now apply that same lens to your surname, even if your family history is painful, even if your last name is linked to betrayal, loss, or silence. Could it be that your soul chose this name because it would give you the perfect terrain for your awakening? Sometimes your name is your classroom. It presents the exact lessons, patterns, and invitations your soul needs in order to grow. And sometimes it's your inheritance, a toolkit full of sacred strengths you were always meant to uncover and use. The deeper you lean into your spiritual path, the more these elements come alive. It's not about idolizing your name. It's about being in relationship with it, listening to it, asking it questions, letting it evolve as you evolve, and honoring the fact that your soul is not here by accident, and neither is your name. You don't have to make peace with everything. That came before you. But you can choose how to walk with it. And when you do, something magical happens. You start to carry your last name not as a weight, but as a torch, lit by generations, held by spirit, passed to you, not as a burden, but as a blessing. If this journey has stirred something within you, here are some grounded, empowering practices to explore the spiritual meaning of your last name in your own life. Look up. The origin and meaning of your surname. Start with the basics. Search for the etymology of your last name. Does it come from a profession, a place, an object, or a trait? Notice your gut reaction to the meaning. Curiosity, resistance, pride, discomfort. Every feeling is a message. Ask, does this meaning reflect something I struggle with or something I embody? This small act can unlock powerful insights into your soul's themes. Trace the energy, not just the bloodline. Even if you don't know much about your ancestry, you can still feel into the emotional and energetic patterns in your family. Ask yourself, what cycles repeat in my family? What emotional burdens seem inherited? What strengths have been passed down? Journal your reflections. This is how you begin to trace your karmic inheritance and your power to shift it. Speak your surname. With intention, try this as a daily spiritual practice. Say your last name out loud, then follow it with a prayer or intention. For example, I honor the light and shadow in this name. May I carry it with awareness, healing, and purpose. Feel how it lands in your body. Do this regularly, and notice what begins to change. Create a name altar or symbol. Choose an object, image, or word that represents the spiritual energy you want your surname to hold, not just for you, but for future generations. Place it somewhere meaningful. This becomes a living altar to your lineage and a physical reminder of your conscious path. Write a letter to your ancestors. If you never met them, write to the people behind your name. You might say, I don't know all your stories, but I carry you. Thank you for what you gave. I forgive what caused harm. I walk forward now, with intention. This letter can become a ritual. Read it aloud, burn it, bury it, or place it on your altar. 6. Define what you want your name to mean. Don't wait for others to define your legacy. Ask yourself, what values, emotions, or actions do I want associated with my last name? Write down 3 soul qualities, then live them. Every time you embody those qualities, you transform your name, from history to healing, from label to light. Explore spiritual naming. if you feel called. If your surname feels misaligned, consider adopting a spiritual name or redefining your current one. You don't need permission, only integrity. This could mean incorporating a name that feels true to your soul's essence, or simply holding your birth name differently in your heart. Each of these practices is a doorway. Choose the one that resonates with you most. Begin there. And remember, your name is not just a relic. It's a living symbol of who you are, who you come from, and who you are becoming. By now, you may never hear your last name the same way again. What once felt like a label may now feel like a story, a song, a calling. It's more than history. It's memory, meaning, a spiritual thread that connects your heartbeat to those who came before and those yet to come. We live in a world obsessed with self-definition, but sometimes the truth of who we are isn't something we invent. It's something we remember. And your surname might just be one of your soul's earliest reminders. You are not here by accident. Neither is your name. Maybe it carries wounds that need healing, or gifts that need honoring, or lessons that have cycled through your lineage, waiting for you to break or fulfill them. Whatever it carries, you now hold the most powerful key: awareness. You can bless it. You can redefine it. You can walk with it as a conscious torchbearer, no longer a passive inheritor of your lineage, but a living transformation of it. So I leave you with this question, and I invite you to reflect, journal, or comment below. What do you want your last name to mean when someone says it long after you're gone? Because you're shaping that meaning right now. If this video stirred something inside you, if it helped you see yourself or your family in a new light, please give it a like. It helps this message reach others who may be walking with questions just like yours. And if you want to go deeper into ancestral healing, karmic purpose, and the spiritual patterns shaping your identity, be sure to subscribe. This journey is just beginning. To continue, I recommend watching our next video. Until then, carry your name with reverence, speak it with love, and remember, even the oldest names can lead to brand new awakenings.